All of you also give other examples in class where we discuss the concept of sustainability.
In the same way, I asked the children how many of you live in a joint family and how many of you live in a house which was constructed by your grandparents. And to be precise, many children come up with that yes, in a class of almost 60, at least there are 15 children who are there, they say that yes, we live in a house which was built by our grandparents. And like when I ask them if there's an addition in the family, like a marriage or something, then yeah, then another room is built on the terrace.
As she told, the same way I also taught the class, telling them about the planning that we had to do for the city. Like it's not only about our own house, it's about the planning of the road that we are living in. See, when we are constructing one more house, maybe one more room or one more house if we are planning, then we have to plan for if we have planned it earlier, we need not change the sanitary line, sewage, water supply line, or any other line. If we have not planned it in a right way, then again we have to dig up the road. So that is why sustainable, for a city to be sustainable, the thing is the first and foremost is we have to plan the city. Growth of each and every person in the city is also matters for a city to be sustainable. This is one of the important things. See, in a city, it is not meant for the growth of few individuals. We have to think about everybody. And I try to ask them, what do they feel about slum dwellers or people who don't have a house to live in? They say, we don't want people, they create a nuisance. Children come out with those things. Then I tell them, what do you do with them? So if you want to if you want your city to be beautiful, if you want it to be sustainable, you have to do something for them also. Then you can say that the city is growing in all the parts. Economic growth, social, economy, everything, all types of growth is happening.
When I tell them about this sustainable development, first of all, I talk about for something which should be kept for the future generation. There are natural resources, man-made resources, we discuss that. Then I tell them that resources are exhaustible, So we should not be guzzler, to consume everything for us and we do not keep for future generation. Like for petrol, I give them a simple example that when you use petrol, if you all consume the whole of thing, imagine future generation if they are going to have, use bicycle again and how it will be for them. So for everything you should consume it in such a way that it should be retained and it should have the maximum use now.
Telling them the difference between conservation and sustainable development. This is one thing the children are generally confused about. They think it's the same, although they are related, but they are not the same. Conservation is when we use the resources in such a way that something is saved for the future generation. We don't save. They are confused between saving and conservation. They say we save, but we use also. So we don't save actually. We save some. We use it wisely, make the optimum use to save some for the future, but not all. Then what is sustainable development? We are using the resources in such a way that the same level of development is maintained. It's not that we have everything now, we are using everything and the resources are finished. We have reached this level of development and suddenly when the resources are over, the level of development drops down. So we have to sustain that level. So this, I start by explaining this, the difference between conservation and sustainable development. Then how to sustain the development of a city. Then they are better able to understand and then they start quoting example, ma'am, we can do this, we can do that. Segregation of garbage and carpooling and all the same examples are there. These examples then come from the children once they understand the terms.
First of all, I would like to talk about sustainability. The best example according to me is a story of Salu Marada Timmaka. And she's a woman who planted trees throughout Bangalore because she did not have kids. She and her husband, they started planting trees all over Bangalore, and that's the reason Bangalore is so beautiful. And I think she planted somewhere around thousands and thousands of trees and looked after it, and she's still alive. And that is the best example to give to these kids because we don't care to tell our kids how much important the plant is today. And like rightly Kalam sir always tells that million people, million trees. If we have one tree in one house, then we definitely can sustain for longer period of time without wasting too much of energy. And there's where I link, that is where I link the concept of sustainability and how it could be linked. For example, the definition of sustainability clearly tells us that how much we use resources and we save for our future, at the same time we take care of the needs of the future generation.
When I'm talking about sustainable development, I give the example of the opposite, what is not sustainable. I give the example of the city of Detroit. Detroit used to be the center of the automobile industry in the US, but they lost out to Japan. And now it's a ghost town. I mean, it's like hardly anybody, it's dying. So God forbid something happens to our IT industry in Bangalore, but we have some other things. We have our BT and we have our public sectors to sustain us. So it's always important, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Thank you.
Having the example of 3 students, as you know in the schools there are trimester system. There are 3 students who have scored 3 different marks across the entire year. 60, 40, 20 and 60, 60, 60 and 60, 80 and 90. So I would ask the kids like what is the kind of marks you would like to score. So they would like come up with the answer saying that I want 60, 80, 90. Okay, suppose if you can't score that, what is the next option? They would say 60, 60, 60. That is how likewise I linked to the city, saying that we can't have cities with exponential growth. We could have cities with a sustainable growth. At least the worst case, like not if 60, 80, 90, 60, 60. We must be able to maintain the resources whatever we have and be able to build on it. Likewise, how I start the classes as well.
So I'm going to sum up what everyone said and what everyone spoke about what is a sustainable city. Well, basically, it's a city that can sustain itself and be environmentally friendly while utilizing the minimum amount of inputs that's necessary. So basically, using up the least amount of energy, the least amount of resources, least amount of electricity, etc., which in turn also gives you least amount of waste, and whatever waste is produced is recyclable. So a city which can sustain itself within its borders without taking the help from outside, from other cities, etc., is a city which is sustainable by itself, or in other words, self-sustainable.
When we say equity, there is one more aspect that is very critical. Everyone in the city, irrespective of what community, what class, what creed they belong to, should be able to have equal access to all resources within that particular city. So that's where the equity aspect comes in. And then the environment aspect, something that Varun talked about, lesser waste gets generated so that it is easier to handle, it has a lesser impact or lesser pollution in terms of the environment. So everything then has a kind of a link there. So the lesser we generate waste, the lesser we need to process it, and then the cleaner the environment is, and that is what we will be leaving behind for our next generations. I think this basically covers most of the important aspects of sustainable development, and what is very important is for the children to be able to connect these concepts with the city that they live in. So perhaps what is the situation in a city like Mumbai might be very different from a city like Ludhiana, which is still in the transition of rural to urban. I mean, it's not 100% in the sense Ludhiana would not be termed as 100% fully urbanized, because there are still pockets in Ludhiana which are still doing the transition, I guess, from the rural to urban. So they're in that middle phase where they need to understand that, if they need to be able to reach that level of, let's say, a city like Chandigarh or any of the other cities in Punjab which are fully developed or fully urban, there are certain things that they need to look at. Similarly, any of the other cities, even like, for example, when we are driving through from one city to another, when we go through some of the, the travel, when we are traveling, we see that there is a transition in the sense that you come out from a city and then you go through a rural sector which is trying its best to try to, kind of catch up with the city that you have just got out of.